Due to the many comparisons that are made between Minato and Naruto, many discussions around who would win usually tend to come up, usually with the intention to establish at what variations of both characters has Naruto been able to surpass Minato. While many have discussed this topic in the past, what always seemed to be the most discussed matchup is between late Warrior Naruto before he got his 6-pass stamp and Hokage Minato. With these versions of the characters having showings that put them consistently in a similar tier, it does kick attention discussing who would win. In addition, this video is also recommended by someone who goes by Capybara Lover Icon _Queen. And while we'll be using EOS Naruto, as that version just clips Minato casually, the overall topic is still based around it, so shout out to this person for recommending this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and to not waste any more time, let's jump right into things. Now before we start this matchup, we're going to divide this into 2 different rounds. Round number 1 will be between Live Hokage Minato versus Kurama Linkmo Naruto, and the second round will be between Kurama Linkmo Minato versus Biju Senbei Naruto. I believe this to be the most appropriate way to discuss this, as both matches provide variants of the characters that are around similar levels of power. In addition, we're going to keep a consistent flow, we're going to discuss the scaling first for all iterations of the characters that are being discussed for the video. Now that we laid the ground rules for this matchup, let's now get into the scaling for both the characters. The first character we're going to dive into first is Minato. Starting with speed, he's able to react to the Nine Tails 3 times during the Nine Tails attack. The first time we see him do this is in chapter 501 when he saves Kushina. After saving Naruto from the paper bomb, not only is he able to rush to Kushina's aid, he was able to pass a great amount of distance and land onto a hill before Kurama lays eyes on him. This feat is also impressive as Obito has already read of Minato's flying Raijin seal that was implemented into Kushina's seal, meaning that Minato had relied on his own body figure in order to perform this feat. Now it should be mentioned that it's unknown and probably unlikely that Obito was forcing Kurama to go all out with his palm strike. Not only is the Nine Tails already extracted, but considering that Obito would know Minato's character and know that his priority will be saving Kushina in the end, he would also know that Minato would mainly focus on getting Kushina out of danger rather than trying to fight both him and the Nine Tails at the same time. Because of this will lead to the case that the Nine Tails probably wasn't going all out with a strike, meaning that Minato would be a blitz tier above the Nine Tails. However, this would still imply that Minato should be fast enough to fight him. We also see this be more the case in the next chapter when Minato is able to react to Kurama's Tail Beast Bomb and react with the Guiding Thunder when he summons Kimamuta on top of the Nine Tails in the chapter afterwards. To put this into context, the Nine Tails is stated to be a rival to Madara's Perfect Susanoo, which should imply that both are relative to one another, and to Hashirama, who's able to react to Kurama as well. This would mean that Minato should scale relative to speed with these people. The next thing to go into should be his AP. Now we must first dispel the idea that Minato's Rasengan being relative to a tired out based Naruto's incomplete Rasen Shuriken. In a small section explaining the story so far in chapter 350, it is stated that the following for the second paragraph: while the threat of the criminal organization known as the Akatsuki looms ever present, Naruto's former classmates Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino embark on a mission to find Captain Asuma's killer. When the quest brings them into a conflict with Kakasu, one of the Akatsuki's deadliest members, it is Naruto who takes the enemy down with a display of power that rivals even the 4th Hokage himself. To be specific, the statement regarding Naruto rivaling Minato is, in fact, a mistranslation, as it does not appear in the original Japanese at all. While this may be the official mistranslation, I believe statements like these shouldn't be taken into account as they do not represent a proper translation of what is originally said. Furthermore, even looking into the context of Naruto developing the Rasen Shuriken, it was mainly in the context of Naruto trying to develop a technique that was past what Minato could actually do, which doesn't inherently mean that it should be near Minato's Rasengan at all. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, what else is it that we can use to scale the Rasengan? Well, the best way, albeit it's still weird to use, to scale Minato's Rasengan is to use the feat from the Minato one-shot, where Minato is able to clash with Kurama's Tail Beast Bomb with his own Rasengan. Not only does Minato do this in Kushina's astral plane, which means that Minato was nerfed similar to Killer Bee was, but he also does this with an incomplete Rasengan that he had just created that day, and after he was hit by Kushina's tails and had a hole punched to his body. Now it should also be mentioned that Kurama, along with his Tail Beast Bomb being incomplete as shown with his Somotic Chakra, also has some of his own chakra being similar to Minato, with the sealing abilities contained his chakra being similar to that of Hashirama. In other words, a nerfed Minato with an incomplete Rasengan was able to clash with a nerfed Kurama's incomplete Tail Beast Bomb. Because of this, while not being absolute, it does lead to a decent probability that Minato's Rasengan should be relative to that of Kurama's full power Tail Beast Bomb. Now several attestants mentioned how Minato chose to use Flying Raijin Guiding Thunder when compared to Kurama's Tail Beast Bomb. However, considering that them clashing in the one-shot caused a big ol' shockwave, if Minato chose to do so, he would just cause an incredible amount of destruction in the Leaf Village, which goes against the entire mission during this night. Because of this, Minato should have around level of a Nine Tails Tail Beast Bomb with his Rasengan. Now that we've gotten speed and power out of the way, there are 3 other things that need to be mentioned. The first thing that should be mentioned is his durability. For the most part, it actually just sucks. Well, kind of. While many would immediately think of the wooden shrapnel that was stuck in his ankle, it should be mentioned that Minato was mainly focused on getting Naruto out of the house before the explosion. This is important to mention as, considering Shinobi can reinforce their body with chakra, and focus chakra in specific parts of their body, Minato will most likely be reinforcing most to at least a decent amount of his chakra in his arms and upper torso to protect Naruto. However, this does present a problem as there isn't a way to scale Minato's durability in base. Now, it should be mentioned that his durability increases massively in Sage Mode as he's able to be kneed by 10-stage Jinchuriki Madara and not show any visible damage, which should grant him probably around 6 pass level of durability in Sage Mode. However, the only problem with this, however, is that being that he, by self-admission, is not good at using in combat, as not only does he use Sage Mode, but the moment he got hit, he immediately falls out of it. So, because of this, it would be very unlikely that he will use it in battle against Naruto here. The second thing that should be mentioned is his capabilities with the Flying Raijin. For starters, he is able to, and has done in character, place FTG markings onto his opponents as shown when doing it to the Stone Village Ninja in Chapter 240, and with Killer B in Chapter 542 through 543. Along with this, Minato is capable of teleporting Tail Beast bombs for the 9 Tails and the 10 Tails with normal Flying Raijin technique and the Flying Raijin Guiding Thunder. And of course, he's also able to combo with the Flying Raijin against multiple people, as able to take down 50 people on his own. In addition, while it's not really stated, Minato should also be able to use the multi-shuriken technique. The reason as to why we can come to this conclusion is from Chapter 542 in his fight with A, where when pulling out his Mark Kunai from his pouch, which shows only 6 inside of it, we then see him throw out 28 of them. Because of this, if he's obviously has like around 6 of them in the pouch, and then shows out way more than 6, it leads most likely to the case that he's able to have the ability to just multiply some of his kunais, which would be really helpful in this fight. Thirdly, his sealing abilities also need to be mentioned as well. While we don't know of every sealing technique that Minato has, we do know that the potency of his sealing was able to seal the 9 Tails of chakra. Not only was this shown in the one-shot, but Kushina applies in Chapter 504 that Minato has sealing techniques that could seal the entire 9 Tails that doesn't include the Reaper Death Seal. And finally, all of this, mainly through how fast he gets with his physical movement speed, gets amplified through Chroma Link mode. While technically not being that important for the scaling, we can conclude that this form is most likely Chroma Link mode and not Chroma Chakra mode, as is stated in the Minato's birthday column that Minato has made peace with Chroma despite their previous conflicts due to Kushina's status as Jinchuriki, and is not able to make use of his chakra. Regarding where he is capable of in Chroma Link mode when not mentally dazed, he is also able to react to 2 Jubito's chakra arms. Something else that should be mentioned is how Minato's Chroma Link mode works. You see, despite both him and Naruto have the same tail beast, they both share different halves of the 9 Tails, with Minato sharing the yin half, with this being noted in Chapter 370. This is important to mention as in the 4th data book, both are described to be different types of energies, as yin release is a spiritual energy that can create form out of naught, and yang release is which can instill life into that form. To keep things simple, yin release is more so applied to juices that aren't physical, with Genjutsu and the Naruto clan's Shadow Possession being examples, and with Minato having the yin half, this would mean that Minato doesn't get a physical amp like Naruto would. While I do agree with this, I don't think Minato's amp has zero physical aspect of it, as Naruto was able to use Minato's half when fighting Jubito, and was able to keep up with him. If anything, what is most likely the case is that Minato still gets a physical amp, but mainly gets an amp through his jutsus. Overall, this is essentially what Minato is capable of, as this would put him essentially in the same tier as some of the stronger non-Six Paths characters. Now that we discussed Minato, let's get into Naruto scaling while in Chroma Link mode. From a speed aspect, the moment Naruto achieves his new state of power in Chapter 571, he's able to run in front of Kakashi and Guy, and deflect 5 tail beast bombs towards faraway mountains. What made this feat so impressive is that both Kakashi and Guy were both preparing to use Kamui and the 8th Gate, but were able to activate them before Naruto intervened. Kakashi's Kamui being very important here, as not only was his MS already activated, but we also see in Chapter 598, he was also able to activate Kamui and transport Naruto's Shadow Clone so fast that Obito didn't even realize that Kakashi had done that. We also see in the paneling as Kakashi mentions that he will have to use Kamui, the 5 tail beasts had already launched their tail beast bombs right in front of Kakashi, especially considering that if Kakashi doesn't do this as fast as he can, he will just die. This would also mean that Naruto was able to do all of this before Kakashi could activate Kamui as fast as he could. Now, this wouldn't be a perception blitz, as Kakashi doesn't comment anything that leads to the idea that he can keep up with what's going on like Guy did. However, Kakashi did believe, after witnessing this high-speed movement, the only logical conclusion that could be made was that the person who could have possibly done this was Minato himself. Because of this would mean that Naruto should scale to Minato in speed. Now there is a moment in chapter 5601 where a Naruto clone tries to attack Madara with a mini-tail beast bomb, only for him to be blocked and to be blasted back. While some would use this as a way to argue against the idea of Naruto being scaled to Madara in speed, commenting how this was an Edo version of the character that he did this while the live version should, this actually doesn't hurt Naruto's speed scaling at all. For starters, Edo Madara is actually either as strong or even stronger than his live self. When comparing Madara's fight with Hashirama during the Final Valley and during the 4th Great Ninja War, it's stated in Hashirama's birthday column that even with Madara controlling the Nine Tails, the two are evenly matched, releasing moves so intensely alter the surrounding area. Even then, it also states that he's starting to release greater power until he realized that his friend was deaf to his words, with chapter 621 corroborating this, with Hashirama saying he doesn't want to kill him with Madara catching on to it, coming to the conclusion and implying that Hashirama even implying that he could kill him at any time. In addition to this, while Madara is going all out during this fight, Hashirama is just calling him a crafty fox with a smile on his face, and is also worrying about the damage that caused him to land the fire more than just a fight with Madara. This is different compared to their fight when they're Edos, as both are serious throughout the entire fight, with the fight ending in a draw, and of course, it's just stated in Madara's birthday column that he's enjoying his fight with Hashirama to the fullest, unleashing power even greater than those he possessed in life. Going back to the altercation between Naruto and Madara, when Naruto lands the attack, instead of being surprised that he was blocked, he instead comments on how there is no explosion. This would mean that Naruto was mainly banking on the explosion from the mini-tail beast bomb, rather than the speed of his initial strike. Along with this, we also see in chapter 608, after losing some chakra from the wood dragon, he's able to create 2 shadow clones who are able to move fast enough to intercept both Obito's strike and Madara's Susanoo strike, with both Uchihas being a decent amount of distance from Naruto as well. Because of this would also mean that Naruto should also scale to his level of speed. The next thing that should be discussed is AP. This is very simple to explain, as his tail beast bombs were able to match the power of 5 other tailed beasts, as Rasengans that should scale above his base self Rasengans, which are able to stretch some of Madara's ribcage, and have Rasen Shurikens. Furthermore, he also has his mini tail beast bombs that should scale above his own physicals, which are strong enough to stop the force of both Obito and Madara's attacks, and produce a headbutt that was able to send Obito flying a small distance. Considering that Naruto's hands weren't shown to take any physical damage from Obito's and Madara's attacks, this should also put his durability around this tier as well. Essentially, everything in his arsenal should be able to damage Minato. All this then gets amped up once Naruto adds his Sage Mode with Kurama's chakra, which allows him to keep up with Obito's attacks. However, it should be noted, as implied by Obito and Kakashi, that Obito was holding back against the likes of him and Sasuke, with him being able to grab both of them and send them to the ground, knocking both of them out of their strongest forms. However, this does depend on how much you think Obito is holding back, as if you think he's holding back a little bit, then Naruto should be able to scale to this level of power. Regardless of which, due to everything presented, you essentially have it to where Naruto is also in this higher non-6 pass tier of power. Now that we have all the scaling laid out for both characters, let's actually get to the matchup starting with round 1. When it comes to Hokage Minato versus Kurama Link Mode Naruto, it's very clear that they are relative to one another in speed, as both are able to react to characters that are also in the same tier of speed. AP wise, this is where it gets weird, as while Naruto's entire arsenal allows him to effectively damage Minato's Rasengan gets really complicated here, as it really does depend on whether or not you believe it does rival Kurama's Tail Beast Bomb. But even if we were to say that his Rasengan isn't actually that powerful, Minato can also just seal away the Nine Tails with power inside of Naruto, leaving him in a weaker state to where he wouldn't be able to keep up with Minato. However, this does kind of beg the question of whether or not Minato can actually pull this off when fighting against not only Naruto, but 2 other of his clones at the same time. We do know that Minato has experience dealing with multiple opponents, but there isn't any evidence that suggests that the groups of people that he fought were even relative to him. Otherwise, you have it where Naruto should be able to overwhelm him and kill him with essentially any attack at his disposal, as there isn't any proof that suggests that Minato can take any of his attacks. Because of this, with a high diff win, I will give this round to Kurama Link Mode Naruto, as his arsenal just allows him to pretty much effectively fight Minato better here, while Minato doesn't really have much showings that says he can fight multiple people that are around his same tier of power. Now on to round 2, despite not really changing aside from both characters' amps, does change a lot depending on how fast you think BG Sage Mode Naruto is compared to Kurama Link Mode Minato. As established before, while Minato was shown on panel to be able to react to 10 Tails Obito, Naruto mentions that he's able to keep up with them until he gets grabbed and slammed to the ground. It is possible that Obito could have just moved faster at that moment. However, it is mentioned by Obito and Kakashi that he was testing Naruto, which could mean that Obito was holding back on him. If you believe that Obito was actually holding back on Naruto, then Minato would just have the speed advantage in this fight, and if you believe Naruto was able to keep up with him, then it would come down to arsenals. In my opinion, I actually do believe that Naruto wasn't able to keep up with Obito here. Because of this, Minato will be fast enough to react to anything Naruto can throw at him, and if he needs to, just seal away Kurima's power in Naruto to kill him afterwards. And the only other way for Naruto to win this match is if he were to amass enough Sage Energy to combat Minato, like he did in the final Valley fight in chapter 696. However, this really depends on if you think Minato would even allow Naruto the opportunity to amass enough. While round 1 was a very close match, considering the speed gap in Minato's ceiling win con, Kurama Leak Minato should be able to win this round mid to high div. Overall, that is it for the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as well as hitting the notification bell to be aware of future content. Also, if you guys want any video ideas to be done as well, then leave them in the comments below. Either way, that is it for the video. Shout out to Capybara Lover Icon Queen for recommending it. And without further ado, this is your boy Harry signing off. Peace.